Good afternoon and many thanks for making time. This is KTN Newsdesk, where news is brought to you as it happens. My name is Boni Tunya.
And my name is Edith Kimani. Unfortunate news this Wednesday afternoon. A tragedy like few others.
Right, and we'll be getting that to you shortly. We have a lot more in store, so do stay tuned.
It's a tragedy like few others in the recent past. We have numbers that indicate that 63 lives have been lost in a space of just 24 hours, and this is to illicit alcohol.
Right, and this particular incident is spanning 3 different areas. We're talking about Embu, Makueni, and Kiambu counties, all regarding to this particular dangerous brew. And sources are saying the source could be similar.
Well, we have a special edition of that. It's called Sip of Death, and we'll be talking to different people on location just to give us an idea of how this could have happened.
We kick off this bulletin in Embu County, where Karo Nderi is standing by. Karo, we understand as at yesterday, numbers were close to 20 in fatalities, with others in hospital. We do know that these numbers have certainly gone up. What do we know now, Karo?
Good afternoon, Boni Tunya and my colleague Edith Kimani. It is true that the figures have gone up. We were talking to the Embu County Commissioner, Amos Gadesh, and he's confirmed to us that as of now, there are 35 people confirmed dead and 99 hospitalized. And in fact, Tunya, yesterday we were able to talk to one of the victims, one George Gadesha, age 31. He had lost his sight and he was hopeful of regaining the sight back. But today we visited the hospital again, and George is normal. He was there with his wife, who had also consumed the toxic brew. She's very sad and inconsolable about her husband's death. So more people are dying. Regarding the source of the brew, I was able to talk to the OCPD in charge of Embu, that is Elfas Kori. He suspects, as many others are suspecting, that the source of this brew could be Nairobi. They're saying that they think it came from Nairobi, seeing as it is that it has affected 6 counties. There are 2 people in custody in the Embu scenario. The daughter of the lady who owned the semi-pub where these victims were drinking or imbibing their brew. One of them is the worker who has been arrested, and the daughter, but the owner is at large. Boni.
Excuse me, Karo. But you've mentioned you talked to government officials there. Do we know, what are they saying? What's the message coming from the county commissioner?
The county commissioner is saying that he's going to take disciplinary action against the chief of the area and the assistant chief. That is the information that we had yesterday. But he's also saying that there are 2 more people he's hoping to take disciplinary measure against, and that is the OCS, Embu Town, and the AP in charge of the municipality in that area. He says he's going to take disciplinary action. Well, of course, the buck has to stop with Trambo Diboni, because we are asking then, how did this happen? Is it that there were no officials manning these areas? How come this brew was able to penetrate these areas? Of course, these people were drinking outside Mutudo hours, so there had questions being asked. And the OCPD, that is Alphas Kori, and the County Commissioner Amos Gadesha say that this brew was sneaked in, as they say, from Nairobi, and they are pursuing the owner of the place in Embu County, Tunya.
Right, Carol, yesterday we mentioned there were leads in regards to the owner of a particular premise where the brew was being sold. We understood she was under police custody. Please confirm to us if any arrests have been made so far.
Yes, Tunya, as I have indicated, the owner is at large. The OCPD for Story says that they are looking for the owner. The people in custody are the daughter to this lady, and one of the workers. Those are the people in custody. At the police station, we were also able to meet officials, quality assurance officials from Kenya Bureau of Standards, who had come to collect some of the samples that are at the Embu police station, and they're saying that the results are likely to be out in 2 to 3 days. The guesses are that there was methanol in this brew, but they are trying to, authenticate that and see really what was in it that has caused the deaths of so many people and blinded many, many more. Tunya.
Many thanks, Karen Derry. We'll be getting back to you shortly, but let's now cross over to a little village of Nazareth that is in Limuru, Kiambu County, where Wilkister Nyambo is standing by. Wilkister, status update. What are the numbers so far?
Good afternoon, Bonnie Tunya. Now, the numbers yesterday stood at 10, and we are told today the death toll owing to the illicit brew has risen to 15. 5 more have succumbed between yesterday and today. Bonnie Tunya?
Right. Wilkista, you mentioned the numbers have gone so far. You've visited people in hospitals. You've talked to families. The people who are still in hospital, what kind of situation are they in?
Well, Bonnie Tunya, what had happened is that initially the locals were at a local hospital called Nazareth. It is what the area derives its name from, but they have been moved to Kenyatta National Hospital. There's nobody in hospital right now. However, we were able to speak to bereaved persons who have been bereaved, and they told us very interesting stories about this brew. We were able to speak to one family that has lost 4 family members and has one family member who is in hospital right now fighting for his life, and they do say that it has been very difficult. The fight against illicit brew in this area, it's very difficult to get rid of the illicit brew, and this is the reason why they say that they do believe that the drink is not being brewed here, that it is actually being brewed farther away and being transported here, and that all the efforts to fight the illicit brew in this area, they have been futile simply because they cannot get to the source, and this, they say, is really at the heart of the problem here.
Well, Krista, as opposed to the story from Karondere we spoke to earlier on from Embu, said the drink was being sold from an establishment. In Limuru, we understand it was being sold from thickets, but do we know if anyone has been arrested?
So far, Bonnie Tunya, we have not received reports of anybody being arrested, because they do say, locals here just telling us that they do not know who is behind it. They believe that it comes from as far as Huruma in Nairobi, but they cannot confirm this. And so far, they say that they cannot they cannot say who is at the center of this. They really cannot find who is, and that is really the problem here. They do say that while police have really tried to root out the problem, they really cannot find the source, and therefore it is very difficult to get the heart of the problem.
Many thanks, Will Nyabo, who's joining us from a little village called Nazareth in Limuru of Kiambu County, where we understand the death toll regarding this illicit brew has indeed gone up. No arrests have been made so far. Edith, what do we know so far?
Well, we also do know that in Makueni, a similar fate is being witnessed, and the number of those who have died after consuming what is now being called a lethal countryman brew in Makueni could go up. Area leaders say there may be more people who consumed the drink and died at home, and Makueni is just one of those areas, as we've seen, that has witnessed several deaths after a drinking spree that has also seen several people lose their sight. Leaders have called on anyone who may have consumed the alcohol to make their way to the nearest hospital for medical examination. Here's an update of what's happening in Makueni.
Is part of 59 patients who have been admitted in various hospitals in Makueni after consuming an illicit brew. This is the origin of what is slowly turning out to be the sip of death. Residents say the men and women who admitted to the hospital took a drink known as Countryman, a drink that is well known to the residents, only this time it seemed to be laced with a lethal ingredient.
Around 6 have visual problem. Have like total loss of vision.
According to area leaders, the number of those who have died as a result of taking the drink could go up.
The death toll to rise because one, we suspect that there are those that could have died at their homes before reaching our facilities.
The leaders have now called on alcohol outlets in Makueni to withdraw the drink from the market as the county figures out the origin of the drink. Countryman has led to deaths in Embu, Kiambu, Makueni, Kitui and Muranga since Sunday, when the first case of death was reported.
These are countrymen, lakini this is country killer.
The origin of the lethal drink is still unknown. Linda Gutu, KTN.
Sharon Momanye now joins us by way of telephone from Makueni. Sharon, As of last evening, the number of those who had succumbed to this drink was 8. Has that figure remained the same or has it gone up?
Edith, we are at a village called Iani in Kitisa location, which is different from the number that had been reported yesterday night. That was we're coming from Kitise, and the numbers we got yesterday was from Kitsuki location, where about 10 people were reported dead. As of this morning, the reports that we are getting on the ground from speaking to community members and families of those afflicted, about 10 more people have died in this county, and we've just been speaking to the families. A lot of agony and a lot of anger they have that their family members and their loved ones would die of such unfortunate circumstances. As we speak, we are on our way to the chief's office where we are to confirm these numbers. But as we know is that there's a bar in this location called Kosovo Bar. The people who have died are reported to have liquor from this particular bar, which is also said to be the supplier of this drink, the brew called Countryman, which is what has seen the death of the people in this county, as is indicated by reports. So the numbers more from yesterday is 10 more people, which is yet to be confirmed by the chief, Edith.
All right, Countryman seems to be the drink that is creating all this. We're still wondering where the source of the drink was. Any leads on that in Makueni?
None yet as of now, because we're yet to speak to the chief and the county commissioner. But what we know is that we visited the bar, which is said to have been the supplier of this drink, and there was nobody in sight. What we could see were the bottles of this said drink, the Countryman, just all over the place, indicating that indeed it has been partaken in big, large quantities, and the place was just deserted, nobody to be seen in the area. If it's anything to go by to show that indeed something was happening in the place, Edith.
Now, Sharon, speaking of chiefs, this tragedy obviously comes in the wake of warnings by President Uhuru Kenyatta that chiefs who are found to have illicit drinks in their backyards are going to be arrested. Has there been any action whatsoever taken in that area?
None that we know at the moment, Edith, but what we know from the family is that speaking out of anger is that they want the strong arm of the law to be actually taken, the people brought to law, and even the people who are supposed to be seeing that there are checks and balances with regards to the quality of the drinks being supplied, that actually somebody comes to pay and answers for this, because there's a lot of agony that we're getting from the family members. But with regards to the chiefs actually having these people having these drinks in their backyard is something we're yet to confirm, but it's reports that we are indeed getting from the ground.
All right, thank you very much, Sharon Momanyi, coming to us from Makueni. Of course, those figures again, unfortunately, rising. We've just spoken to our reporter in Embu, Karonderi. She says the figure now stands at 35 deaths. In Limuru, it's 15, and in Makueni, Sharon Momanyi reports that there are 10 more. We still do not have conclusive figures from Muranga and, of course, from Kitui. The drink we do know that has caused this is called Countryman, very reminiscent of what happened with, when it came to the Kumi Kumi drink. We'll be keeping tabs on this story and bringing you more developments as and when they do occur on Sip of Death. Away from that, let's move to the courts now. And the High Court is set to rule this afternoon on whether it will stop Parliament from discussing and approving the 1.4 million shilling Anglo leasing payment. Now, this comes after the Law Society of Kenya moved to court to challenge the payments, claiming it is shrouded with corruption and breach of the Constitution. LSK lawyer Agri Mwamu urged the court to issue orders to bar the executive from making any payments. But this was objected to by the Attorney General through Deputy Solicitor General Muthoni Kimani. Now, Muthoni says, though the procurement of Anglo leasing was irregular, the government had a duty to comply with the court orders and make the payments. She added that if any Kenyan had any evidence of corruption, then he or she should come forth and help the government.
In the country remains to be a big challenge to authorities in the country in areas with porous borders. It is emerging that there is a lack of capacity to deal with the aliens, such as the case in Isiolo, where suspected Ethiopian illegal aliens have found a safe haven.
In the last 3 days, 106 illegal immigrants from neighboring Ethiopia have been arrested and detained at Isiolo GK prison. Hassan Ibrahim, officer in charge of the prison, confirmed the arrest.
The first batch of 32 was sentenced to 2 months imprisonment or a 100,000 shillings fine. Those who were sentenced yesterday, 33 of them, they have been sentenced to 1 year imprisonment or a 100,000 shillings fine. And today, 42 have been also imprisoned for 1 year or a 100,000 shillings fine.
However, this is posing serious challenges to the facility. The officers are seemingly overwhelmed by the current situation.
They have passed through various stages before reaching this area. These people, when they eat, it's also one of the challenges, whereby they cannot say where they are suffering from because of the language barrier.
The country is currently grappling with terror threats, with suspected Al-Shabaab militiamen thought to have gained access into the country through the porous borders and are responsible for the wave of attacks carried out in different parts of the country. The police are currently conducting security swoops in different parts of the country to get rid of illegal aliens.